Welcome to our deep dive into the world of fintech.
Buckle up because we're going straight to the source for this one.
We're talking about the World Bank and their perspective on how fintech is really, reshaping the future of finance.
Right. And we're diving deep into their 2023 publication, Fintech and the Future of Finance, Market and Policy Implications.
Which is basically their guidebook for policymakers who are trying to wrap their heads around all this innovation.
Exactly.
So we're going beyond just like the trendy term fintech, and we're going to explore how it's actually changing things.
Right.
Is it all hype? Or is this a genuine revolution in how we think about and deal with money?
Well, I think it's safe to say it's a revolution.
Okay.
I mean, just think about how we pay, how we borrow, how we invest.
Yeah.
Fintech is in all of that.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
We're talking about digital payments going mainstream, mobile money, even loans being decided by, these complex algorithms that are looking at way more data than ever before.
So it's not just like replacing the old ways, it's creating completely new systems.
Exactly.
And I see the World Bank is pretty optimistic about all of this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They see fintech as a force for making financial services more inclusive.
Right.
Reaching more people and more efficient, just making things work better.
Right.
And they actually highlight how crucial fintech was during the pandemic.
Oh, interesting.
In keeping economies going when those traditional, kind of systems were in chaos.
Right. So in the old ways, we're kind of breaking down. Something had to fill that gap.
Exactly.
But it sounds like it's not just about access. There's a bigger picture here.
Yeah, there's more to it.
Okay.
The World Bank is really encouraging countries to not just allow fintech to happen, but to actively create policies that help it thrive.
Right.
But safely,
Safely. Yeah.
That's key.
Regulations.
Yeah, and they see it as a huge driver of, economic development.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, everywhere I turn, it seems like data is this magic word behind all of it.
Right.
So is that really what's making fintech so powerful?
Data is the fuel, that's for sure. I mean, we're all more connected than ever before, and all that connection creates massive amounts of data.
Right.
And fintech can use that data to assess risks better, to personalize services, and to reach people who might have been excluded, from traditional finance before.
So instead of just a credit score, they're looking at your whole digital life?
Yeah, in a way.
It's kind of impressive, but also a little scary.
It is.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. Instead of just your credit score, lenders can now analyze your spending patterns, your online behavior, even things like how consistently you pay your utility bills.
Wow.
So it gives them a much clearer picture of your financial reliability.
So data is the key to making financial services more inclusive then?
It can be, yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to get the full picture here.
Yeah.
But the World Bank also talks about something called unbundling and rebundling.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
Okay, so imagine you walk into a huge department store for all your financial needs.
Right.
That's the traditional model, right?
Right. One-stop shop.
Yeah. Unbundling is like breaking that store into specialized boutiques.
Oh.
So you go to one for payments, another one for investments, another one for loans, and you pick the best one for each of those needs.
So more choice, more customization.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. But then you run into the issue of, wouldn't it be a pain to juggle all these different providers?
Right.
And that's where rebundling comes in.
Okay.
Think of it like those department stores now offering like personal shoppers who help you navigate all those different boutiques.
Okay.
So large companies are stepping in to offer these kind of integrated suites of all these specialized services.
So you get the expertise of the specialist boutiques, but the convenience of having it all in one place.
Exactly. You get the best of both worlds.
Clever.
Yeah. But this brings up the question of, what the market structure will look like in the future.
Right.
Will it be diverse, or will a few giants dominate?
And that's the barbell market the World Bank talks about, right?
Exactly.
A few big powerhouses alongside, lots of smaller niched players.
That's it.
Okay.
And they highlight the potential of this barbell structure, more innovation, more personalized services, but also the risk that a few giants could control everything.
Right.
And stifle competition and limit your choice.
And nobody wants to be stuck with only a few options, especially when it comes to something as important as their finances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of giants, we can't ignore the elephant in the room.
The big one.
Big tech.
Yeah.
They're already so integrated into our lives, and now they're moving into finance as well.
They have our data, they have our attention, they already know so much about us.
Right.
why wouldn't they want a piece of the financial pie?
Exactly. And it's a development that's both promising and a bit concerning.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. They could use their vast resources and data to make financial services more efficient and more accessible to people who have been excluded before. But it also raises questions about competition, about privacy, about whether the playing field is truly level.
So while big tech's involvement could be, disruptive in a good way,
Yeah.
it needs careful consideration.
Absolutely.
We don't want to end up with a financial system dominated by just a few tech giants.
Right.
Yeah. So,
And speaking of disruption,
okay, here we go.
we can't forget about the wild side of things, crypto assets.
Ah, yes, the Wild West of finance.
Exactly.
Where do crypto assets like Bitcoin and all those stable coins, where do they fit into this future of finance?
They represent the decentralized frontier.
Right.
A world where individuals have more direct control over their money.
Right.
And the World Bank acknowledges both the exciting potential and the challenges they present.
So it's not just about buying Bitcoin to get rich quick.
No.
There's a deeper revolution happening.
Yeah, there's a much bigger picture.
Okay.
Imagine sending money across borders instantly and cheaply.
Yeah.
Or accessing financial services without needing a traditional bank account.
Right. Those are the kinds of possibilities that crypto assets offer,
Okay.
especially for people in countries with limited access to traditional banking.
Yeah, I see how that could be revolutionary.
Yeah.
But I also hear a lot about the risks, the scams, the volatility, the whole thing being a bubble.
Of course, there are risks.
Yeah.
The World Bank highlights concerns about financial integrity,
Yeah.
consumer protection, overall stability.
Right.
It's a relatively unregulated space,
Yeah.
and there's a lot we still don't know about how it will evolve.
So while it's exciting, it's important to proceed with caution,
Exactly.
not just jump in head first without understanding the potential downsides.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And this is where the World Bank's role becomes crucial.
Okay.
They're not advocating for a hands-off approach.
Right.
They're calling for a balanced approach,
Yeah.
fostering innovation while putting safeguards in place to protect consumers and the financial system as a whole.
So it's not about picking sides, it's about finding that right balance.
Exactly.
Making sure this revolution benefits everyone, not just a select few.
And that brings us to the question of how we actually achieve that.
Right.
What are the concrete steps policymakers need to take to navigate this complex landscape?
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's something we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned, because we'll be translating those policy recommendations into actionable advice you can use in your own financial life.
Exactly. We'll delve into how you can be an informed consumer, protect your data, and navigate this exciting new world of financial innovation.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of fintech.
Where we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the World Bank's recommendations.
Yeah, last time we talked about all those big trends, the explosion of data, and even big tech and crypto,
Yeah.
getting in on the action.
We set the stage.
Yeah, we did.
Now let's get practical.
Okay, let's do it.
The World Bank lays out 5 key areas where policymakers need to focus
Okay.
to ensure this fintech revolution is, a positive one.
Right.
And it all starts with protecting the consumer.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting to have all these new options.
Right.
But it can also feel a bit like the Wild West out there.
It can.
So how do we make sure that consumers aren't, getting lost or taken advantage of in this new landscape?
Well, the World Bank stresses the need for regulations and oversight
Okay.
that actually keep up with how quickly fintech is changing.
Right, because it's moving fast.
It is.
Yeah.
And a lot of the risks come from these new products and business models being so complex,
Right.
especially for folks who are new to financial services,
Yeah.
It's easy to get in over your head.
So it's about making sure that the rules of the game are clear and fair,
Exactly.
even in this fast-paced digital world.
Yeah.
What are some of the specific concerns the World Bank highlights?
Well, one big one is the potential for misunderstanding.
Okay.
Imagine someone investing in a crowdfunding platform,
Okay.
thinking they're guaranteed a certain return when that's not how it works at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could see how that could happen.
Especially with all the hype surrounding certain fintech investments.
Right.
It's crucial to make sure people understand what they're getting into.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's the issue of accountability.
Right.
With so many different providers involved in some of these services,
Yeah.
it can get really murky trying to figure out, who's responsible if something goes wrong.
Exactly.
So if there's a problem, who do you turn to?
Right.
It's not like walking into your local bank branch anymore.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget about data security and privacy.
Oh, right.
Huge one.
Yeah, with fintech relying so heavily on data, a breach can have devastating consequences.
It's not just about losing money, it's about your whole digital identity being compromised.
It is.
Yeah, that's scary.
And then there's the risk that some of these fintech companies, especially those operating in less regulated areas, could simply fail.
Right.
And consumers could lose their savings if a platform collapses.
So it's a balancing act.
Encouraging innovation, but also putting safeguards in place to protect people.
Right.
What about transparency?
Transparency is key.
Yeah. How do we ensure that consumers have all the information they need to make informed decisions?
The World Bank is a big advocate for clear and accessible information.
Okay.
Even in the digital world.
Right.
That means no more burying crucial details in pages of fine print that nobody reads.
Right. Nobody reads those.
Consumers need to understand the terms, the fees,
Yeah.
the risks involved, all of it.
It's about empowering people, not overwhelming them with legalese they don't understand.
Exactly. And they even suggest using technology to make these disclosures more engaging.
Okay.
Imagine interactive tutorials or personalized risk assessments right within a fintech app.
Oh, that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
It's about meeting people where they are and making it easy to understand what they're signing up for.
Exactly. And speaking of empowerment,
Okay.
the next area the World Bank emphasizes is financial literacy.
Okay.
It's not enough to just have access to these new services. People need the knowledge and skills to use them wisely.
It's like giving someone a powerful new tool without telling them how to use it.
Yeah.
They could end up hurting themselves.
Exactly. The World Bank recommends incorporating financial literacy into school curriculums.
Oh, yeah.
So future generations are equipped to handle their finances, in this evolving landscape.
It should be like a basic life skill, just like reading or math.
Absolutely. They also recommend public awareness campaigns and outreach programs targeted at specific groups like those who are new to financial services or vulnerable to scams.
So it's a multi-pronged approach.
It is.
Education, awareness, and targeted support.
Yeah.
But what about the fintech industry itself?
Right.
How do we ensure that they're operating responsibly and ethically?
That's where the concept of market conduct supervision comes in.
All right.
The World Bank highlights the need to adapt regulations
Okay.
to oversee how these fintech providers are behaving and ensure they're acting in the best interest of consumers.
So it's about setting clear expectations and making sure companies are playing by the rules.
Exactly.
Not just taking advantage of loopholes or gray areas.
Right, and they go a step further, encouraging self-regulation and industry best practices.
Okay.
Imagine fintech companies adopting ethical codes of conduct and committing to transparency and fairness in all their dealings.
So it's not just about external pressure, but also about fostering a culture of responsibility within the industry itself.
Exactly. And speaking of fostering,
Okay.
the next area they discuss is competition.
Okay.
Remember the barbell market we talked about?
The big players and the small players.
Well, the World Bank is very clear. Regulators need to proactively shape the market to ensure it stays competitive.
So we don't want to end up with a situation where a few big players control everything and consumers have no real choice.
Exactly. They suggest lowering barriers to entry, making it easier for new players to emerge and challenge the incumbents.
Right.
And they even recommend looking at existing regulations that might be hindering competition, especially those related to how different types of financial services can be combined.
So it's about creating a dynamic marketplace where innovation thrives and consumers benefit from having real choices.
Exactly. And to support all of this, the final area the World Bank focuses on is modernizing financial infrastructure.
Okay.
Think of it as building the foundation for a strong and stable fintech ecosystem.
So it's not just about the apps and platforms we see.
Right.
It's about the underlying systems that make it all work.
Exactly. They talk about the need for open and secure infrastructure.
Right.
Robust digital identity systems, modernized credit reporting and data exchange platforms that prioritize both access and privacy.
It sounds like they're laying the groundwork for a truly digital financial system.
Yeah.
One that's accessible, secure, and empowers individuals.
That's the vision. It's about creating a system that works for everyone, not just a select few.
Right.
And it requires a collective effort.
Uh-huh.
Policymakers, regulators, financial institutions, tech companies, and of course, informed consumers like our listeners.
So this isn't just something happening out there.
No.
It's something we all have a stake in.
Exactly.
But what does it mean for our listeners on a practical level?
Right.
How can they navigate this new world and make the most of it?
That's an excellent question, and one we'll tackle head-on in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, looking forward to it.
We'll translate these recommendations into actionable advice you can use in your own financial life, from choosing the right fintech products to protecting your data and making smart decisions in this exciting new landscape.
Sounds good to me. Welcome back for the final part of our deep dive into the world of fintech.
Where it's all about you.
Yeah, we've journeyed through all the trends, reshaping finance. We've looked at the World Bank's roadmap for policymakers. And now it's time to make this knowledge work for us
Right.
in our everyday financial lives.
It's time to empower ourselves.
I love it.
We've laid the groundwork.
Yeah.
Now let's equip ourselves to make those savvy decisions in this, exciting, ever-evolving fintech landscape.
So less sky is falling, more here's how to fly the plane.
Exactly.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Give us those actionable takeaways.
Okay, first and foremost, be a super sleuth when it comes to your finances.
Okay, I like it.
Don't just blindly jump on the latest app or the hottest offer.
Right.
Do your homework.
Due diligence.
Yeah.
It's like online shopping, but with way higher stakes than, a sweater that doesn't fit quite right.
Exactly. Understand the products, understand the providers, understand those sneaky fees hiding in the fine print, and most importantly, understand the risks involved.
Right.
If something sounds too good to be true,
Yeah, you know the rest.
do know the rest, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Reach out to the provider, consult a financial advisor, or tap into those resources from reputable organizations like the World Bank.
Right. They're there to help.
Knowledge is power,
Absolutely.
especially when it comes to your finances.
Right.
And remember, fintech is constantly changing.
Oh, yeah. Always motivate.
Yeah, so keep learning, stay updated on the trends and new offerings, but also be aware of those emerging risks.
So subscribe to industry newsletters, follow those insightful fintech blogs, maybe even take a course or two.
Right.
Make it a habit to stay informed.
Absolutely. There's a wealth of knowledge out there, often for free.
Love that.
Yeah. And as you explore all these new options, never lose sight of your personal financial goals.
Right.
What are you working towards?
A down payment on a dream home, a comfy retirement, launching that side hustle into a full-fledged business.
Yeah,
Those goals should guide your fintech choices.
right.
Don't get swept away by the hype if it doesn't align with your bigger picture.
Absolutely. That's a vital reminder. Now let's talk about something crucial in the digital world.
Okay.
Data security.
Right.
Fintech thrives on data, so be fiercely protective of yours.
Strong passwords are a must.
Absolutely.
Be wary of those phishing scams trying to trick you into handing over sensitive information.
Right.
And always read those privacy policies, even if they're a bit tedious.
It's worth it to understand how your data is being used, control those app permissions, and be mindful of what you share on social media. It's all interconnected.
Sometimes it feels like everything is connected these days.
It does.
Speaking of interconnectedness, what about AI?
Oh, yeah.
It's increasingly playing a role in finance, and that's both fascinating and a bit unsettling.
It is. AI has the potential to revolutionize how we lend, invest, and manage our finances.
Right.
But we need to be mindful of its impact, especially when it comes to fairness and transparency.
So don't just blindly trust the algorithm, right?
Right. Ask questions, understand how it's making decisions.
If something feels off or unfair, speak up.
Exactly. Be an advocate for responsible AI development and use your voice, and your choices have power.
And remember, fintech is still relatively young.
It is.
There will be bumps along the way, unexpected challenges, even the occasional stumble or setback.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your financial portfolio, explore different providers, and be prepared for the unexpected. The fintech landscape is dynamic, and being flexible will serve you well.
Excellent advice. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of fintech,
Yeah.
let's end with a powerful thought. What role do you want to play in shaping this future of finance?
Will you be an informed consumer who asks questions and demands transparency, a savvy investor who embraces new opportunities while managing risks wisely, or perhaps an advocate who pushes for a more inclusive and ethical financial system?
The future of finance is being written right now, and you have a voice in that story.
You do.
It's exciting, it's challenging, and it's filled with possibilities.
So dive in, explore, learn, and most importantly, be an active participant in this financial revolution.
We hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the confidence to navigate this exciting world of fintech and help shape a future of finance that truly benefits everyone.
If you're eager to delve even deeper, check out the World Bank's full publication, Fintech and the Future of Finance: Market and Policy Implications. It's a treasure trove of insights and a roadmap for a more inclusive and innovative financial future.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shaping the future of finance.